blood cell indices. Red blood cell indices are an important component of the CBC report. Red blood cells, or erythrocytes as they are sometimes called, are a critical component of our blood because they are responsible for carrying oxygen from our lungs to our entire body and tissues and bringing back carbon dioxide and delivering it back to the lungs. The RBCs contain a protein called the hemoglobin. It is the hemoglobin that actually binds to the oxygen molecules, takes it to the body and collects the carbon dioxide molecules and leaves it back in the lungs. So as you can imagine, RBCs are quite literally the most critical component of our blood, of our life, you can say. So in a CBC report, various calculations are made on the RBCs. There are comments made about RBC numbers, their shape, size, how they differ from each other in shape and size, etc. So let us talk about the first RBC index, which is known as the RBC count. RBC count is the count of actual number of blood cells in the blood sample. The normal range for RBCs is 4.1 to 5.1 into 10 raised to 6 per microliter, and for adult males this range is between 4.5 to 5.9 into 10 raised to 6 per microliter. As you would have noticed, this range is a little lower in females because in females of the age between 15 to about 50, because of the monthly blood loss because of the menstruation, the RBC count is a little lower than adult females. One very important thing to notice in this report, as well as on any other report that you may be analyzing or looking at, is that the reference ranges vary from one lab to the other. So always refer to the range given in the test report. So typically there will be the blood sample value, and in the next columns the reference range is given. So whenever you are looking at RBC numbers or any other parameter for that matter, please look at the reference range included with it. Now let us come to the other RBC indices. So the first RBC index would be the mean corpuscular volume. Mean corpuscular volume is the average size of red blood cells in the sample. So typically the size of a red blood cell would be between 80 to 96 per micrometer cube. Lower values in the reference range would indicate that the RBCs are smaller sized and are called as microcytes. It is commonly found in iron deficiency anemia or another hereditary anemia which is known as thalassemia. Higher values indicate that the RBCs are larger sized and are called macrocytes, which is commonly a result of vitamin B12 or folate deficiency. Sometimes large RBCs or macrocytes are also found in bone marrow disorders, liver disease or hypothyroidism. Mean corpuscular hemoglobin. Mean corpuscular hemoglobin measures the amount of hemoglobin protein contained within each red blood cell or the RBC. So an average RBC would typically contain between 27.5 to 32.2 picograms. Against smaller RBCs would have lower values of hemoglobin and larger RBCs would have higher values. Mean corpuscular hemoglobin concentration. Now this measures what proportion of an RBC is filled with hemoglobin. So average concentration of hemoglobin in a given volume of blood. The general reference range is 33.5 to 34.5 grams per deciliter. As we saw in mean corpuscular hemoglobin as well, that decreased values are seen in iron deficiency anemia and thalassemia, and higher values are generally rare and a result of autoimmune diseases. Red cell distribution width. Surprisingly, large proportion of RBCs which are circulating in our bloodstream are very uniformly sized. Body has a very unique mechanism that most RBCs are very similar to each other in shape and size. Red cell distribution width measures how different or what is the variation in volume and size of the RBCs compared to each other. Normal range in adult females is 12.2 to 16.1%, and in adult males this range is 11.8 to 14.5%. Higher values are seen in iron deficiency anemia or anemia due to deficiency of vitamin B12 or conditions such as thalassemia. So this was about the various RBC indices that are calculated as part of a CBC or a complete blood count report. Thanks for watching.